Stream is broadcasting and the stream is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
D&D.
I'm Christiana Ellis, the Dungeon Master, and our players tonight, Chooch Schubert as Otaki,
Hello.
Starla Hutchton as Nirkina Ethu,
Greetings and salutations.
Jennifer Meltzer as Cadence of the Water,
Howdy.
James Meltzer as Ket of the Sands,
Salutations and hello, man.
Mark Kilfoyle as Alaric Copperbeard,
I really don't know my lines.
Vivid Muse as Amethyst,
There's lines.
and hopefully joining us shortly, Jadzia Axelrod as Mugen the Magnificent. So, last time... Yes!
Yay!
That was...
Exactly on cue.
Well, it was like 10 seconds after I said, hopefully shortly.
Well, late but in earnest is
You know what? I'll take it. So, welcome! Jadzia Axelrod playing Mugen the Magnificent.
What's up, party people?
So, let's talk about what happened last time on So Many Levels. Dun dun. I don't know why I guess that was kind of the Law and Order one. There's also the
D&D, the parties are represented by two factions.
the old 24. So, last time we began with a story told by the storyteller of the Dark Elves, their version of how they understood the creation story of Rushama. Not just the creation, but also the story of how he became corrupted, failed to keep his promise, ultimately leaving him vulnerable to destruction and, well, gestures broadly at everything. But we also flashed back briefly and then parallel and then back in with everyone else, followed Mugen as Mugen tied off a couple of loose threads. Finally,
One way to put it.
speaking to the witch who had once cursed Mugen into the form that they now enjoy, and finding some resolution there. I was initially going to call it a confrontation, but it kind of didn't end up being that at all.
Nah.
No. So,
We're like, what, level 600 or something now? We're beyond confrontation.
might as well be. One moment, everyone, if I am briefly distracted, is because my dog is chewing on my microphone stand. And I wish that he wouldn't. He's very cute, but he shouldn't chew on the microphone stand.
You should give him treats every now and then or something. He wouldn't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, he never gets any treats. I maybe should try that sometime. It's yeah. So then also, once everyone was back together, there was kind of a continued negotiation with this Dark Elf storyteller, chosen as kind of a representative of her people. A discussion of, could it be possible for her and her people to once again have faith in Rushama and in all of you to make the world a better place. She was initially very reluctant, but ultimately, through divinely granted visions of how you each saw the future, she was persuaded that even if she wasn't sure that you could accomplish these things, that it was at least a vision worth attempting. But as we left off, there was the realization that if you want more faith than just hers, you're going to need to persuade an awful lot of people that you're capable of doing what you want to do. And I think you had an idea. So, let's find out what happens to the heroes of legend on So Many Levels, episode 151, The Heroes of Legend.
So I have a question. With that whole commune spell thing that we were doing, Nira's mother was there. Did she experience that as well?
I think that she had been kind of standing back, and so unless she was specifically beckoned over, I think she probably wouldn't have.
Okay. I was just wondering if there was some kind of area of effect.
I think there was in that particular spell it was a little bit more concentrated. But yeah, I think maybe could have if she wanted, but I'm not sure she felt welcome in that moment.
Okay.
I mean, she certainly watched you all do something magically, and then the storyteller seemed more willing to go along, so she knows something happened.
Well, I don't think, talking to the storyteller, I don't think that you probably want to go back to your cell. Is there somewhere you would feel more comfortable, with the understanding that once we leave your presence, you'll go back to how everyone else is, frozen in time?
Wait a minute. We're gonna have to unfreeze like a multitude of people. Maybe she would want to be there when we do that.
Well, that's kind of what we're like. We have a lot to discuss, but if there's somewhere she would feel more comfortable, until we execute this idea.
I am not looking for comfort. I would want to be with my people, but I've been in that cell largely since the occupation. I don't know what has become of my people.
Kind of look back at my mother. Where is everyone?
She looks around and just says, we didn't round everyone up into like a big courtyard or anything.
I'm not saying that you did. Maybe the question was phrased poorly. Are they just in their homes? Like, we don't know what the status is here, and she's been locked away. So that's
Yes, most of them are wherever they would go if they were, off the streets.
look back to the storytellers. The choice is yours. Wherever it is you'd like to be, we can see you there.
What are you going to do?
We have some discussing to do, I think. We have a story to tell, and we have to tell a lot of people at the same time. And I think we need to figure that out. It will seem like no time at all has passed for you. And hopefully, if this goes well, the next time you see us, we'll be the storytellers.
Are all of those... You can actually see her briefly swallowing some other word, but then she says, high elves still occupying the council chamber?
Some of them. I don't know how many all is, but
She
there
smiles.
were,
Take me there.
of course. I guess we're
Yeah.
checking back inside.
Yeah. So I think that you certainly know where to take her, and I think you get the impression, although she does not elaborate, that she's just sort of feeling like you get the impression what she wants is for whatever's going to happen when everybody is moving again like normal. She wants to be there to, I don't know, gloat, smirk in their faces.
I was thinking more like record it for posterity because that's kind of her thing. But
Why not
Okay.
both?
gloating is good too. I can relate.
Well, to some extent, too, you would imagine that there's an element to which, if this whole vision is actually going to also persuade the high elves that things are different, those would be the people to hear it from. So you can leave her there if you like. Your mother has continued to just kind of follow along at a reserve, looking, thoughtful but a little bit frustrated.
I do want to speak with her privately before we go. If anybody else has any other things that they want to do, I don't want to
No,
No, man, I'm just gonna stand over here and play with my tail.
Right?
I think actually we're gonna head upstairs to those rooms where Nira had gone before.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll kind of,
Like nicer bed chambers.
yeah.
You could go to the same one where it has a person in it, but he is looking at something in a drawer, so his back is to the rest of the room.
Yeah, I don't remember if I checked out the rest of the rooms or not, whether any of them were empty, but mostly it's like this for her comfort level, because at this point I'm used to it. So.
Yeah.
It's like having a statue in the room, whatever. So, I wanted to check in with you. Things are going to change after this. A lot.
So it would seem.
I don't know what. I don't believe you experienced what we shared with the storyteller. To convince her to open up to us a little more, just put a little bit of trust in us.
I saw you praying together or something.
She asked us what we saw. I suppose I looked at it as my vision of an ideal future. And it's actually something that I've been thinking about for a while. And if this goes well, then I could maybe start to work toward that. But if it doesn't, I want to leave the idea with someone, just in case.
She kind of frowns. She didn't seem to have expected it to go that direction. What do you mean?
none of us can really know for sure how this is all going to work out. And I would rather take precautions and not have any regrets later. What I shared with the storyteller was a vision of Farusha. And in that vision, it had become a place of learning, not just for us, but for anyone. Experts of all kinds coming and sharing what they knew, teaching others. Anyone who wanted to learn could come and learn. And I know that would take a lot of work to make it happen. Because I know our people don't care much for outsiders. But there are experts in the world. There are people with knowledge that far beyond our own of different subjects.
Nira, I don't. It hurts to realize that the idea that we don't like outsiders is the lesson that was conveyed. At least my understanding, it was never. That story she told makes it sound selfish to want to protect the ones that you love and care about. The knowledge obtained, this place of peace and beauty, and that story makes it sound selfish and corrupt to want to protect those things. Now, I'm not saying everything was right and that others should be victimized, but that woman acted as though she was happy to imagine our city just crumbling into oblivion. And I'm not saying that we did everything right. But I'm just struggling to imagine the world where what she wants and what you want can be the same.
It wouldn't be easy, and I know that. And it would take hard work on everybody's part. But just look at who I'm traveling with. On the mountain, they just weren't other people there. And there's so much to be learned from the rest of the worlds. And anything that was different was not overtly, not like aggressively railed against, but it was quiet segregation that forced people out because they weren't being listened to. I did not speak my mind because I saw what happened to others who did. But I say this knowing that things can change. We can go forward and do things differently. I want to move beyond that.
You know, I prayed to Rashama after you left and after you didn't return. I prayed to Rashama for wisdom to understand why he'd chosen you, to understand why you'd been taken away from us, sent away from us, and what that meant. And the part of that story that before Rashama and the girl met each other, Rashama was just a stone. And he, when he began to love and sacrifice for the girl, to change himself for her, he began that process that led to everything else. The good and the bad. It depends on where you stop the story. Because if you stop the story at the place where the community is healthy and everyone is safe and growing and thriving, it means that everything up to that point was the right decision. But those were still the decisions that led to the rest of the story too. I don't know that it's ever possible for peace to be had forever. I'm sorry, I'm a little scattered. I think it's possible that by being so worried that outsiders would attempt to hurt us or take what we had or change what we knew, we wanted to protect those things, and that did make us closed off. But I thought that that was to protect, and what it seems like it did was just quash. I believe in what you say. My eyes have been opened now. I'm not trying to say that we did everything right. I'm just saying that I'm scared. I
That's
don't
okay. Change is
understand.
scary.
I don't understand the world that's to come. I've never seen it. And I don't know how it can work, but the idea that we could have a place like was promised in that story, a refuge for anyone. I don't think I ever believed that was possible. But I've seen a lot of impossible things recently, thanks to you. And so perhaps I can do what I can by not having convince your mother to believe in you be an impossible thing.
It's a pretty important one.
So like I said, I can't pretend that I understand all of this or know how to make it happen. But but I'll try. But you should come back because it seems like you have a much better idea of how to make it happen.
Well, that's the hope.
All right. So, I suppose I should go back down where I was too, or else they'll all just think I vanished into thin air or something.
Well, I think when people start coming around, I think there's going to be a lot of minds, maybe not changed, but looking at things a little bit differently. We hope.
I hope so.
There's a lot of that going around.
Nira, one last thing. It seems like you've learned this lesson already, but I will also say that the lesson about Farusha can also be true of just one person. It's easy to feel safe when you don't let anybody in. But then that's all you are.
I've learned this.
All right.
So, things are going to change.
Right.
Hopefully for the better. Okay,
So, I think
head back down.
with that, you can head back down. And what was everyone else getting up to while Nira went to go have this heart-to-heart?
Playing with Guts tail.
You were
I was
all
like,
that's just a new
Yeah,
pastime.
Archie.
Everybody's doing it now.
It's so good to be back.
Mine doesn't bend like that. It just.
Maybe if you practice more, and then I like whip Archie with my tail.
See, I need to take some lessons from you guys because I just move it back and forth.
No, you need to whip it. You need to whip it real good.
Yeah, whip it.
I think mine's too thick. I can get that.
Yeah, you do.
I
have
mean,
a-
it's dummy thick. That's true.
Yeah. It kind of feels like a beanstalk.
A little bit. Mugen's is like so fluffy though, man.
Yeah, it's mainly fur. Like, there's barely any
Yeah.
actual tail there. It's a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
fluff.
Oh yeah, like I just want to braid Mugen's tail.
Please don't.
I won't.
Um,
I'm just saying how I feel.
It's not quite that. I mean, I guess you could, but that would look weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I
it
just
might
like
look
snuggle.
cool.
What's that?
It might look cool. You don't know until you try it. I mean, don't be afraid to try new things.
Hey, Alaric, prestidigitation Mugen a tail there with braids in it, just to see how it looks.
It doesn't work that way.
Son of a...
Are you
Okay.
sure? Have you ever
Braiding
tried to
takes
do it?
time. You think I look this good just from wiggling my fingers for a couple of seconds?
No, like
It takes hours.
It's because of your armor, right?
Alaric, man, I don't hate you
So
because
the
you're
beard is
beautiful.
mine.
Just the axe, right?
Well,
Oh,
Yeah.
Alaric
so-
takes braiding very seriously.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, I'm all
Nira, I think you come back and rejoin your friends. I think you've probably gone ahead and dropped your mom off and the storyteller off, and so this is Heroes of Legend powwow.
Yeah.
the important topics.
Amethyst is an Almirage, and she's hanging out with Arin. She thought she might be lonely. She never gets to hang around with them.
So,
Nice.
Oh, good. Someone else without a tail is back.
Why you got the prejudice against people with tails, Alaric? Jeez.
He doesn't
I've got
like being in the
nothing to contribute
minority.
to a conversation of tails.
Jeez, man, don't you know that all tails matter?
Yeah. You should grow one.
I don't think that's
I think
Important.
it's possible.
Let me tell you, as someone who spent considerable amount of time without a tail, I've come around to it. It's a lot of fun to have.
Wait,
It
you
looks-
didn't always have a tail?
Oh
No,
no,
he wasn't
I was
always-
not always
You
this
guys have
handsome.
when I'm not around.
Yeah, like
Well, yeah, but
you think
judging
we're
by the look
serious all the time?
Judging by the look on your face, we can't have these conversations when you are around.
Jeez.
Well, I'm sorry. I thought we would be doing something productive, but okay, we'll talk about tails.
Tails are super productive. I could like shoot an arrow with my tail. Just you watch.
This I
Amethyst tops over and wiggles her tail at Nira.
I go over. I go over to Cadence and I like lock tails with her, and I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a tail war.
Yeah. Like like we could let Mugen do like jump rope with our tails.
Oh my god.
That would be so much fun.
We'll do it later. Nira's getting really grouchy. Look at her face. She's all like, "Come on, this is serious, you guys."
Heroes of Legend, everybody.
That was a really good Nira, actually. That was really good.
I practice sometimes.
Anyway,
Where are we actually, like, physically located right now? Where are we?
You tell me.
I thought we were outside. Like we went
Okay, we're
outside
outside.
the things, like through all those bodies that were congregated, like
Yeah,
down
I
the
forgot there's a
steps.
crowd outside when they're.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how are we gonna do this, guys?
We need to find a way to wake up like a bunch of people all at once first. I mean,
Without stopping time, though.
yeah, I think maybe like because it's intent that if we all focused on it, we could wake up like a large group of people. That's just a thought. We'd have to test it, but I think that might be possible.
worst comes
Archie
to
and
worst,
I did
I
that.
always wish for it.
Yeah, true. But we might need
I-
to save that for something bigger too. That's such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who knows what might happen. I mean, we might become gods again.
Not this
Oh
again.
no, not again.
No, I had some thoughts about the tree, the big tree. I mean,
Yeah.
it touches all planes of existence, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, I mean, I have kind of the way my magic is based. It has some overlap with a couple of you, and particularly with, I guess I'll say the changes I've been through. I kind of touched some other aspects of magic that I don't think most people, really get to experience. And so I had an idea of a couple theories, a couple spells, and I think that we can chain them together, and I think we can link through the tree to basically be a beacon to broadcast to, well, everybody.
What are we gonna broadcast, though? I mean, what are we gonna show them?
I think it's exactly what we saw here, everything that's happened, since the moment, it's going to be put back. All that horrible's going to happen again, right? And we saw the repercussions firsthand of so much of this. And I think if we can essentially give those memories and again show that intent of what we're intending to do to make the world a better place. And I mean, it's really about garnering belief, right? We're not converting people. We're just showing the situation and showing, the power of Rasham and garnering that belief. And I think even if some of them say demons see this, and even if they want this to happen, they're still going to believe. Right?
We can show everyone what we've done. All of the impossible things that have already happened. I think, And if not Rushama, they could believe in us.
At least they'd know. I've got to imagine that people all over the place have just been wondering what the hell's been going on for the last 100 years.
Well, I have been working on a script.
That's like for a
Yeah.
play.
Yeah, well, more of a musical. We just
You
had
mean-
such fun the first time we did that, if
Yeah.
you remember. And when I've had some free time at the monastery, I've been like writing a few things down. Of course, been keeping tabs on you guys, so I've been adding to it. Right now, it's 8 days long, so that we need to have some edits. But
Okay,
I
yeah.
think there's some real winners in there. I, of course,
Wow.
play the narrator.
I still have
Hey.
the dragon wings, I think, in this bag of holding.
Oh, nice.
You have dragon wings?
Well, yeah, it's canvas and
What do they? Oh, that'd be super cool with my
We did a-
dragon face.
play. Yeah, we
Oh, right. This is before we met you guys.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I always forget that you three haven't been with us forever. So once upon a time, we put on a play about how cool we are because people didn't believe we were who we were. They thought we were actors. And we decided to run with it at the time, which looking back is a weird choice. But hey, we made a bunch of those back then. Still doing them, really, if you think about it. Any case, I think it'd be this is a good opportunity to, polish off the manuscript and get it ready for showtime. And Mugen pulls like a huge stack of papers out of his sleeve. And it's like I said, needs to be some edits. Obviously, I don't need quite so many solo ballads, so we can take those out. I'm okay with that. I'm enlightened now. I can share the spotlight.
yeah, definitely keep the best.
So that's going to knock a
locally.
day out right there. So really, we just have a show that's a week long with intermission.
A lot of
We
in
can
there.
probably get it done a little bit shorter than that.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
like
think
That's
we
going to
can.
cut some good lines, though.
maybe like 2 hours at the most.
Whoa!
I know that's a lot. Like when you write something that big, you don't want to get rid of any of it. But I mean, we can't go through everything.
I guess
What's
not.
what's that old adage when you write something you have to learn how to kill your darlings, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we killed a lot of things. I don't know if any of them were darlings.
Kill my darling.
it's not really part of the story, is it? I mean,
No, but
So,
not happening.
are we actors playing a play, or are we telling our stories?
Yes.
Yes.
both.
Oh,
Why not? both?
I'm the dude disguised as the dude playing the other dude.
Wait, you're gonna be Alaric?
Yeah. I mean, we'll.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Maybe we should switch roles.
Oh,
Oh, that would be more fun.
Oh,
I feel
can
like
I
that
be-
would go downhill real fast.
You're right. Right. We probably shouldn't cast against type.
You know, we never did do a body switch episode. Yeah.
Oh, at one time,
I mean,
pretend to be Nira.
That's right. Oh, that was
technically,
fun.
Nira wasn't Nira once, too.
That's true.
So I think if we condense everything down to maybe the highlights, the big battles, the real emotional moments, things that people can connect with.
Probably leave out our mistakes, too.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, only the good stuff.
Well, maybe like
I
a
don't
couple
know that I
mistakes
agree.
to make it look real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
We're
can't
humble.
relate to us and see us as,
Gods.
yeah, we're just going to be fictional characters in this story, but we're real people. And we need to make them see that as well. Something real to believe in.
Definitely not gods.
I mean,
You
speak for
don't know
yourself,
that.
Shorty.
Yeah, you don't even know. Like, you don't have to be a god if you
I
don't
think
want
they'll
to.
just assume, since how the message is coming across.
I think that
Yes.
if we're too much
Let
of
them
a
assume.
being gods.
Yeah.
they're
This
not going to
this
believe
this
it.
group of people who are going to broadcast to everywhere in the multiverse all of their heroic actions in order to garner enough universal faith to save everyone are definitely not gods.
Yeah, we're not asking them to have faith in us because we're gods.
Not fronting.
No.
Fine. So we're gods. At least
Thank
for the
you.
purposes of story.
Thank you, Alaric. You've just
Listen,
made my
if
whole
the
life.
godlike powers fit, then wear them. That's what I say.
It can't
I
help
like
but fit.
Mugen.
It's an illusion.
Oh,
Right?
So-
how do we,
it's going to take a
Maybe
lot
we
of
should-
preparation here. A
We
lot
should
of
look
prep
at this
time.
this giant
Should
script
we,
and do some trimming and
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm open to edits, to notes. We can workshop it.
okay.
So one thing I don't know that we've kind of discussed off and on is Zorath. Zorath and his mother. We were going to try to save her, but as far as we know, if we foil things, then they're going to kill her, right? They're going to.
Do we need to talk to her before we do anything important to get like her side of this whole story? Because I think Nira said that before, that maybe we should talk to her, and Nira knows what she looks like.
I mean,
Well, the trick there
the
is
thing's
that,
already happened.
well, yeah, and
it's
she
already-
is right there where it's all happening.
It's
It would
already
be-
been successful. So does that mean we can just hide her?
That's the question, though. Is where the moment stands right now, does that meet the terms of the agreement that she had with Onyx?
One of the things that you all know, based on your experiences with the lower planes thus far, is that it's one thing to make a pact with the devils where there's the lawful contract and all these different fine print and codicils and the party of the first part and so on. A pact with a demon lord, they do what they want. So probably whether she's okay or not depends entirely on how the demon lord feels about it afterwards.
Well, and if we can speak to her, maybe even remove her and her son from the situation,
Mm-hmm.
then
You know that her current location is right smack in the middle of where it's all going down. You think it would be probably impossible to get to her without setting everything off right now.
What if we went to another plane and used the gate spell? I know we love the gate spell, we use it all the time, but it's an idea.
that had actually occurred to me as well. It might be the safest way to go. I hope.
Can you pull 2 people through the gate spell or just one?
Let me check.
It's
Because it's
just
all
one,
pretty-
but you'd have to
Yeah.
cast it twice.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think I only have. Yeah, I can only do a 9th level spell once per day. So.
Well,
I
you
would either
also
be
are
pulling
not
out-
sure. So the thing is, once the gate is open, there's you are influencing the situation over there. It's precarious.
Right.
Hmm.
So I think, I mean, if we try to do these spells and broadcast and tell the story, I think, that is going to wake everybody up. So
Yeah.
Right, but
the
probably.
thing is, her side of the story may not matter in this case. I'm
Well,
not
we-
dismissing her, but her story is already set. And all
But
we
if
can
we
do
can-
is change what happens next.
If we can remove
Right.
her from that situation, we could potentially save Zora a lot of pain that turns him into the broody, grouchy person that he is. I mean, what if?
it could maybe be while we're in the middle of telling the play, doing the tale, you can pull her over while they're.
What if? I mean, if we open the gate and it stirs everything. I mean, is that going to set all that stuff into motion? Like once we wake up all these people, will that stuff just start happening again?
If she's the center of all this spell, I can't see where it wouldn't.
The spell
Like
had
it-
already happened. Like it was done.
Mhm.
So there's nothing to stop. All there is to turn back the tide. Like the portal was open. He was right there on the other side.
Mhm.
So likely this sending out this story to all sentient creatures is going to wake them up, but maybe they'll be too distracted with, the stuff going on in their head.
Well,
It does
you
have
guys
to be-
are
That's my hope.
you're
That's my
you're
hope.
meddling with some extremely high level, powerful magics that shape the entire universe as you know it. It's possible that you could try to work some element of that so that it does not just start time again, because you know that
Yeah.
the only thing that can start all of time again is your keys. So perhaps what you need is not necessarily as straightforward as just waking everybody up full speed.
What if they all had like
got an
this
idea.
sort of like as a dream vision that like they're, not moving but they're dreaming and they see this so that when we do wake them up, then they're aware.
Hmm.
You had an
Yeah.
idea too though. What was your idea?
I'm just thinking some additional spells we can kind of weave in there. We can add in some hold monster and some.
Well, we don't have to tell everybody in the world, do we?
Yes.
We can try to target it. I just assume this is an all or nothing. This is
I think as you've been trying to like study and sort of meditate on the different options, you think it might be possible that you create, like, it wouldn't be live, essentially, is that you would sort of create the memory of your show and be able to send it out. And so it wouldn't wake people up, but when they unfreeze, they'll all have the memory.
So, like when you drop a big rock into some water, there's the people right there that all float and shift and kind of twitch in the water at the time. And then later on, people later see the waves that are happening in the water. They'll see large floating things, sort of tubes that are bounding up and
Yeah.
down for you.
I think all of you probably have a little bit of a sensation that there is, the weave that creates magic in the world is swirling around you right now, and you sort of feel like you're crackling with the possibility of doing things with magic that it normally can't do. And Ket, I think in particular, when you last cast your wish spell and started all of this, you felt this then. In particular, what you felt was something more powerful than what you expected is happening, because in some strange way, that's what the universe wanted to have happen. And so all of you are sensing right now that you're at kind of a precipice where you have a real choice about how you want this to go. But that whatever you want, you can make it happen. This is a key inflection point where you won't always have this level of control, but for right now, you do.
Maybe with Cadence's knowledge of the tree, we could direct the message specifically to certain channels and avoiding others. Like, say, what is it? The abyss? Is that where the demon lord is? I'm trying to remember.
Mhm.
You know, that's where the
Okay.
demons come from. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could skip a plane.
So we target our message only to those people we think might want to subscribe to it. Maybe if it rings a bell for them, they'll get that subscription for them automatically.
No, I think they shouldn't have a choice. Not for this. Because this involves everyone.
Then why do we want to exclude people?
Well,
I was just thinking so
the
we don't
demons
influence
depend on
the.
description. That's kind of their thing.
I don't want to influence the people. I don't want to make the demon lord move. And if we can stop anyone in that place from being awake and being able to do things, then we don't endanger them while we're trying to gather support from the rest.
So maybe we think of this as building a dam, and then all of the magic we weave behind it, this story that we tell. We have like a, what do you call it? Like a linchpin that when we're where we want to be, we can. What's that? I'm hearing voices now.
It was from outside. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that when we're where we want to be, position ourselves strategically, and then we can pull that pin, send the message out all at once, kind of opening the dam, if you will.
Create a live stream.
Yeah, I think as you're sort of envisioning the possibilities here, you definitely can foresee a scenario where you sort of prime it all based on the idea of your keys, where you can set everything up, create your story, your legend, position yourselves for the final conflict, turn the keys, and then everyone knows your story and knows what's happening and knows the stakes. But once that's done, you're committed.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagined a montage of several weeks of preparation, of preparing all of the components and discussing and scribbling papers and talking the different spells and weavings and
Sorry, go ahead.
and I thought this would be so maybe as we go about it, we'll find that it works a little differently because of this kind of primordial magic. So my initial thought was we would lay out basically about a month of casting and have us staggered. The bulk of it would be, Nira and Amethyst and Ket, and I have some, and there's a lot of overlap, and so we would kind of stagger so that we could continuously do this. But now I'm getting the sense that it would maybe be more accelerated.
Well, I think that you definitely need some prep time. I think what you're sensing is that right now it feels as though magic is cooperative with you right now.
Sweet. So the weave that we were discussing is basically we're taking on 3 different components. We're going to use the gate spell and plane shift, invoking to I'm sorry. No. That's right. We have to have a base, right? So Nira would kick us off with the hallow spell and hallow a circle, a 60-foot circle that would include part of the tree. And then we start laying in within this circle gate and plane shift to link it to the tree, link the circle, and in turn link all of the planes of existence. We would continuously use bursts of plant growth to refresh and strengthen the tree, along with I was thinking synaptic static, which is a psychic thing that would help. It kind of like does this jolt and kind of like help boost the signal. And then we need target, and we need to figure out and find things. So I would think we could weave together locate creature along with scrying and dream, because a lot of people are going to be asleep, right? Not everybody's awake at the same time. And speak with the dead. Why not? Why not locate and reach out to all sentient creatures, whether they're conscious, living, or dead? And
I was thinking, when things die, they go to the ethereal plane, right?
Astral
So
plane.
we would reach that.
Right, they go to the astral plane, and then
Yeah.
maybe those that are trapped.
Yeah. I
And with the message, the imaging, combination of really the heavy lifting would be Mirage Arcana, which is the spell that basically lets you create everything, smells, every kind of sense in a very large space. And we even embellish and reinforce that with major image, project image, and of course sending, and part of the Hallow spell. But in addition to that, we're going to need some tongues to do the translation, right? And then finally, maybe
Hollow is that you can speak and understand all the languages. So yeah.
all right.
yeah, there's like 4 different aspects you can weave into it, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
And then for spice, maybe we throw in the motivational speech spell that inspires people, and top it off with Zone of Truth to let everybody know that we're being sincere.
Yeah, that's excellent. I think that is an amazingly well thought out plan. And guess what? The universe and the Weave are cooperative with you. And so it takes some time for all of you to get it ready. But I think I'm going to suggest that the way this is likely to work, unless there's some piece of it that you would want to keep working on, is that this story that you're going to tell is essentially going to be sent out to everyone, even though they're currently frozen in time. And it will essentially be held in a sort of temporal buffer. And then once time starts, all of them will experience it at once. In a flash. And the entire world will see the story.
And so one thing I guess we didn't really discuss when we let it go, when we pull the pin. Do we want to be down there under the mountain, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, isn't Nira planning something that's the whole reason that we need all this faith to begin with?
Well, that's part of the story. Like I'm envisioning, like at the end of telling this story, is the plea for what we need from them. Just asking for, not conversion to any religion, just a belief that we are capable of doing this.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, lots of magic swirling.
All right, so here's the question. Are you ready to put on a show? It sounds like you've got all of the effects worked out, and you've got the your broadcast template, your broadcast solution established. So tell me a story, Heroes of Legend.
All right.
Hey.
You've got the timeline all laid out.
Did is Mugen gonna kick us off? Did Mugen have an opening
Oh,
aria?
I did not finish it before the game today. But yes, I was working on an opening number, but no, it's not done. Sadly.
Well, I guess
Um,
you'll have to improvise something. I don't want to. I don't want to put you.
space for improvising.
No,
today.
okay. I'm sorry. I don't want to put.
I know. No, this is my thing, and I'm just not.
No.
I'm not here. I'm not here.
It's all good.
Collectively, everyone is on the spot, but you all have each other for support. So, no, not putting too much pressure on anyone.
I mean, I say we go ahead and start and just
Sure.
wing it.
That's the entire thing.
Yeah.
The end.
All
As
right,
far as
now
we
everyone
got.
clap so we can fight this demon.
Here's a
Yay!
We edited the script down quite a bit.
Jazz hands.
Yeah, I'll say.
Wants to start.
Well, I imagine that we would start with something like thaumaturgy to create the illusion of like trumpets sounding, some grand
Mm.
fanfare. And then
That doesn't really feel like us, though.
It doesn't?
Like a grand trumpet fanfare?
Yeah,
No,
that
more
doesn't.
like
That
a
doesn't
kazoo.
feel.
It'd be more like a kazoo, I think.
You know, I could get behind a
I
kazoo.
have to start with a text.
I'm
Is
just
this on?
now.
Is this on?
I'm suddenly imagining the beginning of 2001 with the alignment of the planets and the also Sprach Zarathustra, but on kazoo.
I'll throw my axe up in the air and then catch it.
But yeah, you tell me.
That doesn't begin with me.
So I still like my
Once
fanfare idea.
upon a time.
Yeah.
Classic opening, you know, can't go wrong. There were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. How many people did we
Started
start with?
4.
Yep,
4. Thank you.
Mhm.
There were 4 lost souls. Who were looking for something, each individual, that they had lost, that they were hunting for, that they were searching for. Far away from these 4 individuals, through space and time, and in one person's case, many miles of Earth, were 3 other individuals, also lost, also searching. Are you seeing a theme here, guys? A motif? A recurring element? Strap in, it'll happen again.
I kind of imagine this as the the montage of the room where we're working on the script and the actual performance back
Yeah.
and forth. So the best parts are in the performance and the other parts are just us going, no, I don't
Right.
think that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that reading entirely. Is that, like, you know, again, the TV show version of this is cutting between you guys planning it and then the actual execution.
Sam,
But it's through this searching, this... Oh, man, I'm not ready for this. It's through this searching and this desire for discovery that these souls came together and perhaps discovered something about themselves.
Otacree was a young tiefling walking the world having a violent past and swearing vengeance against the demon through his bloodline, he was not very bright and did not really know how to go about hunting a demon. So he was really just kind of wandering from place to place and getting involved in things as he could. But he would get little glimpses here and there, and he'd have these dreams, and it brought them into a wagon with all of these companions, like Nirakina, who was on her own quest.
So the story actually starts 10 years before all of this.
Mm.
All right, everybody, grab some,
We already have a flashback.
grab some snacks.
110 years ago, a party of adventurers heard rumor of a summoning taking place deep within the heart of a mountain and sought to I'm forgetting words, and sought to thwart the efforts of the I'm trying to think of the right word for it that doesn't sound too nice.
Say the wrong words and we'll come up with the right ones later.
Yeah, that's what workshopping's all about.
Yeah.
I'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got a post
Misguided.
over here. We found the words again.
Like, what's the non-judgmental way to say bad guys?
Well, I mean, they
Individuals
didn't
with
start out that
differing
way
opinions.
because they were vulnerable and they had
They were desperate.
whisperings in their ear, tempting them, and they listened. So this party of adventurers was handed a magical object that they didn't quite understand, but that they knew that they thought could help. And maybe only to be used in a moment of desperation, but it was still a backup plan.
Oh, we could actually call it that, the moment of desperation.
Ooh, I like that. I'm writing that down.
It's a good name for that thing.
It's better than the stolen moment because that kind of implies that something else.
Well, it's not stolen anymore.
So these
Right.
heroes went forth and journeyed under the mountain and arrived at the scene only to find that they were just a little too late.
Again, this will be a recurring motif.
And so all that was left to them was the backup plan. The desperation of the situation called for magic that plucked the event from time. But what they didn't know is that their actions caused a chain reaction that set off a destabilization across the multiple planes, disrupting everything. But they didn't know it yet.
Maybe we can get more physical with the metaphor. Maybe like it's a pile of rocks and they pull the wrong little one, thinking it was the one that was important, and then the rest sort of collide down and roll down the hill. I think that
What?
might go over
I
better.
still
with
like my
people
book
who know
metaphor
about-
of like the book not having the binding and one gust of wind comes and blows all the pages.
It's
Why
like
are
Django.
all your metaphors piles of rocks?
What's
He
wrong
likes
with
rocks.
I just feel like there's other ways to talk about things.
Maybe, but why?
So that's when we cut away to Archie's story and him, you know, going along his, you know, vengeful tiefling ways.
Righteous. Let's say
Who was
righteous,
the first
not
to the
vengeful.
tavern? I think it was Mugen was the first to the tavern, wasn't he? Or was he the second?
Jeez, I literally do not remember.
You can just say something, no one else will know the truth.
Right. No, I totally was first. That makes sense.
If it
Because
was
you
all
would have
the
been
same
in there
time.
blah blah blahing about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Trying,
I was
pretty
probably
sure
trying
I
to
had
con
you
people
roll
before you
initiative.
showed up.
you had that thing about being a
Initiative.
fox spirit, there to bless the
Right.
establishment,
That
and then
was
a
the good
tiefling walks in,
con.
proving your point.
Now I'm literally a fox spirit, and it's not as fun. It's weird that I would eventually be right about that, though. That's wild. Right. So, I'm there in the tavern, pretending to be a god. Ironic. Ooh, this is good though. Lots of irony there. Layers upon layers. And
Foreshadowing.
foreshadowing. Yes. And I'm
I
missing things, right? Because I'm not. I need companionship. I need the love of good friends. I don't have any of that. I mean, I have it now. Didn't have it then. This is good character stuff. We'll put this in. And then who showed up first?
Archie showed up. And then I think I was next.
Hello. Nice to meet. No, I'm just kidding. We're just gonna start over.
Yeah.
Remember, we're not doing
I'll
used
just-
Gonna role
version.
play it out.
Yeah, I'll just edit in the entirety of session 1.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
the rest
what
of the
happens right
campaign.
now. Is then
So
the
then
whole
we'll
thing.
have this like cinematic montage of like, here is a lark, just like a snapshot of where everybody was. So Archie, the vengeful paladin, and then we have the fox spirit Mugen, and then we have the see, how would you guys describe me when we first started all of this?
Snooty?
Teenager. That was how you described yourself, and I think that it fits.
Yeah, all fair, all true.
And I don't consider teenager to be an insult, by the way. Let me be clear.
Yes.
But
Mira
suffice it to
had-
say, we all started
her
off
thoughts were
on.
focused on herself, and not so much on. And she was more concerned with the burden that had been placed on her and how unhappy she was to be chosen for this role when she had no say. And then Amethyst.
So Amethyst gave up her memories to a purple dragon and doesn't remember her past. She does know she's from the Beastlands. And Christiana, I'm fuzzy. I know I interacted with my mother, or was it an aunt?
So you had a vision at the moment where you interrupted Zoreth's original ritual.
Mhm.
Where you had it. So the whole thing with these entities in the Beastlands, this is getting back to lore from like
I know.
60 episodes ago, more than that, where you were still struggling with your memory being restored, and then there were figures that seemed like maybe parental, maybe like aunts, maybe just
Right.
authority figures, but they were basically playing very coy about what the actual relationship was because they were trying to tease your memory out of you, was their explanation. In hindsight, you suspect they knew your real nature all along, but knew that wasn't something that like just telling you doesn't actually help.
Yeah. Got it. So that. And then she had her first interaction after kind of knowing what was going on and being able to retain a memory again was she was scammed by some people and retreated into the forest and just kind of stayed there till she could get a handle on not knowing what was going on. And then she realized that in order to find out what she needed to know, which was anybody left in the lurch, were there children, was there a loved one that, whatever. So she realized that she needed money to do that, and this was the first job that she had, was meeting up with you guys. And that's Amethyst. She's a human, like, sometimes, but she prefers animal forms. That's her absolute favorite, most comfortable form. So however that would be relayed using different animal shapes and tree forms that I'm able to
I
assume.
just see this like amethyst poofing in and out of these different forms, like this and this and this and this and this.
Yeah. And then she lands on a teacup purple panda and she's done talking.
All right. So the four of us in a wagon, and as we're going along, we are ambushed by a dark figure on the horizon and goblins. Yes, goblins.
Goblins.
I think so.
Insert facts from episode 1.
For the record, I'm going to stop correcting or reminding on anything because what I want this to be is what you guys remember.
I remember nothing,
There you go.
Christiana.
There
Nothing.
you
I
go.
think goblins because Nearest speaks goblin and would have like heard anything that they shouted or must have shouted something at them. This I have a vague recollection of this. So
But this is all a musical number anyway. The goblins come in, they do a little
Yeah.
dance. They're not such a bad group after all. Do do do.
So after much discussion, something was taken, a box was taken from the wagon, and off we go in search of it. We are told that it is a very powerful artifact that has been stolen. It was being transported to Villanocta, and they need it. He needs it back. A mage, a wizard, sorceress, something needs it back because it could be very, very bad. So off we go. We track the villain to a cave, and
So I know I just
make
said I wasn't
enemies.
going to remind you guys of anything, but do you really not remember that particular detail? You really don't remember that detail?
What detail? Which one?
You just said the powerful artifact needed to be returned to a mage or a sorceress.
I did rewatch that episode, and we kept using the word mage and and sorcerer. So I'm confused at which one.
Yeah, we weren't
It
we
was
weren't sure of the
Malacanth.
exact class.
It was Melicanth. Travis Fletcher was
Oh no,
hired by...
I know that now.
Okay. Okay,
didn't know that.
okay. It seemed like you were implying that
We
you
don't
didn't
want to
know.
reveal
Okay.
that now.
I'm
Foreshadowing, Christiana. Don't you know how to tell a story?
Well, it just goes to show what happens when I break my own rules. So please go ahead.
So yeah, I'm trying to like speed this along a little bit. So yeah, in the cave we make some enemies. There's a hobgoblin on his knees. And as we are reaching for the door to stop the villain, poof, back in time. And that's where we see this moment of history with the stolen moment going off. Like, oh, this is very bad. And then we meet Zorath. And Zorath is talking about, how it's stalling for time, basically, saying villain things. And Mugen is distracting him with the shell game, doing all this. And we don't intervene soon enough. Again, we are too late. And boom, the moment explodes. Zorath has been doing something. And we are suspended in time for a century.
And get the crystals embedded.
Yeah. There's a really cool shot of us like, whoa!
Yeah,
All
to
Matrix style as
Yeah,
the camera
bullet time,
moves around.
totally. Yeah, just like...
Yeah.
Those of you who only listened to the audio just missed my bullet time recreation. So
It was very impressive.
thank you.
Right, so then, 100 years later, right? Let's see. Consult my memory. Okay, so then we emerge from the cave. As 100 years later, everything has changed, so we have to reacquaint ourselves with all of the change that has happened. But the biggest change we encounter first is the spirit that used to be small is now much, much larger. what had been a small little creek running outside the cave with a small spirit attached by the name of Sitzlebeck has since grown enormous in the course of this time. And he gives us that would be a great opportunity for using polymorph into like a dragon, and I can glitter bomb you, and you can have that spirit look kind of effect, spiritual dragon kind of thing. It'd be great.
Do you have it, Ket? If not, Amethyst does. You changed back into your Ket form, right? You're not the Planetar?
Yeah, man, I can.
Cool.
Well, we're going to inject like weeks worth of magic
Sure.
preparation to be able to just
Yeah.
We
You
will.
basically, what you guys are doing is making a magic TV show, right? So you do the stuff as you need for each sort of scene, and then it all gets assembled and packaged into a microburst of cosmic epiphany.
Right on.
You know, like a TV show.
And cue the polymorph now. Glitter bomb on 3, 2, there.
Right. So
Too
let's
much
see,
glitter.
after
Never
Sitzlebeck-
enough glitter.
There was a lot of traveling after that, so maybe fast forward to that part, and we go to Villanocta, and there's the whole library. I wonder how much of a library could possibly create.
It's
I'll have to-
theater of the mind. We can do a lot of it.
I mean, it's only one scene.
If we're gonna spend that much budget on one set, though, we should reuse it.
Well, just have someone stand in front of a bookshelf. What else do you need?
All right, so the Villanocta library, everybody gets information, and then the Hobgoblin army is on the move, and they send a. We're attacked just outside the castle or something there, and enemies are defeated, of course. But then, to spare all of the people of Villanocta, we decide to throw ourselves valiantly to the waves of enemies, and we go and meet the army. We
Wow,
had
that seemed like
Henry
a really
with us.
dumb thing to do. You guys really did that?
Well,
It's
it seemed like a
okay.
good idea at the time.
Hey, and you blame me for that.
Not for the Hobgoblin army. That one was Archie's fault.
well, yeah. I mean, it was kind of one of those the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few things, right?
I'm remembering all this.
So what we essentially had to do, I think it was Archie struck the final blow that hit the Hobgoblin general, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, then we returned heroes. And after that, we left again. And that's when we went to the Barrier Mountains, because Junta Copperbeard, that's who it was. She was the emissary that was in Villanocta representing the Barrier Mountains. So she said they were having some trouble, so we headed that way. And that's where we met.
Right. That's why you guys went there. Huh. I can probably get Rocky a little costume, and he can run around and chase me around for a while, if that helps.
There you go. Perfect.
It's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll have to leave the axe for a while so you can see that I only have one arm, I guess.
Just put it in a sling, it'd be fine.
It still looks like I'm in fancy clothes, though. It's a little distracting.
I think you guys can make it work.
You guys are really there for
Definitely.
the 2 holes in the floor in the ground.
Yeah, we've skipped over, this is when we started encountering the fissures before we even got to Villanocta.
Yeah.
Is when the moment exploded, we had the shards in our shoulders, or I had mine in my
Right.
shoulder, and Archie, you had yours in your palm,
On a
correct?
hand. Yep.
And Mugen was your foot.
Foot, or was it the ear?
It was the
Was it
ear.
the ear? Was it the ear?
Thought it was the
No,
ear.
the foot. But Amethyst, it was your thigh, correct?
Yeah, I rolled for it and I decided to be honest about it. It was basically my ass.
All right, so we had closed a fissure before Villanocta, and then we closed one at the Hobgoblin Army, and we got to the Barrier Mountains, and Alaric, let's see, there were 2 down there?
Yeah, one with the guys who didn't say much but built a lot, and then the other with the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Archie, do you think you could build some, like, forge some kind of little, I don't know, pyramid guy on legs? I don't know if we could, like, who knows about puppeteering?
I mean, we could just stack them there and
Oh,
say,
yeah.
"I am the law."
What about polymorph?
It's the law.
It is the law.
All right. So I believe it was right after we closed that fissure that we lost Mugen for the first time.
Yes. Alas, Mugen parted ways. And alas, for us, that we must briefly part ways with Jadzia for tonight.
Yes, I gotta leave early. But I love you all, and this trip down memory lane has been wonderful. And I will
Good night.
look forward to seeing you all next week.
Bye.
Good night.
Take care.
Right.
Oops.
Let's see.
Right.
So, lost Mugen, but we gained an Alaric. All right.
Not necessarily a fair trade.
I think we did all right.
Worked out for me.
Okay. Anybody else want to jump in here?
You're doing great.
I'm just reading the outline I made, guys.
You do it so well.
Okay. So after that, after we left the Barrier Mountains, we did a few other things, but then we hit Lake Elamon because they were having some weird stuff going on. And that's
Yeah, we'll
when
leave
the-
that giant snail thing out, I think.
Yeah, probably not our finest moment. Like,
Not the most heroic.
but I mean, this armor is amazing. So anyway, that's where I got where we killed the bullet after the snail started screaming. Anyway,
Amethyst is so annoyed right now.
I said we'd leave it out.
I was trying to skip over that part. Thanks, Lark. So Lake Elamon was flooded, and we were taken in by this. What was she? She wasn't. She's like a water elf.
Oh,
What
like
was
a sea elf thing.
she?
Yeah. Aquatic elf.
Or maybe
Totally
something
blanking.
else.
But yes, she lured us to the temple, intending us to be sacrifices. And
That was really
yeah, that's
annoying.
where-
Not cool.
Oh, I'll have to figure out some effect to make myself appear giant, because that was definitely a thing that happened.
Just force perspective.
Mhm.
We'll do
Yeah.
that part from the perspective of Amethyst as a mouse.
Yeah. Well, I was going to cast a water wall for that part of the
Ooh,
reenactment. And so if
yeah.
I make the water wall smaller than normal, you'll appear larger in scale, right? Or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Nice.
You'll be huge.
You're going to be huge, I tell you. Huge.
So then, whoa. So then I believe that's when we actually we went to the center of the lake and dove down. And that's where we met the Koatoa. And I think this needs to be a big part of the story that we broadcast.
Yeah.
Because the
Absolutely.
storyteller seemed very, very swayed by that freeing of the people who were trapped.
I'm letting them decide their own fate
Right.
or the spirit.
And then I'm trying to decide how much of that we should. I think there's probably going to be some people that are pretty annoyed about the after effects of dispersing the spirit of Lake Elamon, because it kind of went crazy. Like, it was just spirits running around everywhere.
But they can't help but believe.
That's true. Now they know what happened, at least, right? All right. So then, when we were on our way back from that, that's when we got the message from Melicanth to meet her in Gorn. So that's where we headed next. And on the road there, that was when we got tagged by Queen Solomonia for the first time. We had the slashes across our palm. And shortly after that, Zorath found us. And,
That's a nice way to put it.
well, nobody died for long. So, yes, there was a very shocking moment where Amethyst was taken from us, but then brought back as Zorath returned to a physical form. I'm still wondering how it was that worked.
A
I
wizard
don't
did it.
Hmm?
A wizard did it.
Yeah.
I think
Wizard
Onyx
stuff.
might have been involved too.
Hmm.
So, yes, he was back in the flesh after that and took off.
It was like a really nice nap.
You're being too nice.
So then we got
As
to
usual.
Gorn and found it much changed since our first meeting there, which is where we all met for the first time. But that's where we met Melicanth. We got a room and like the wall opened up, and that was our first experience with Magic Mansion. And that was she told us all of the background information that we didn't have when we got involved in all of this mess.
Do we want to include Andrea in all this too? I
Well,
mean,
as we're
I don't want to
staging it,
drag her name into it.
yeah, well, she'll have to be a part of it. So maybe Ket can polymorph into Andre, like if we describe her adequately. I mean, it just
Now,
has to be
appearing
kind of
as Andrea,
I have polymorph, and if we're doing this over time, I can absolutely do it because I know
and
what she
Ket
looked
could
like.
be Amethyst.
Hmm?
Ket could be Amethyst, and Amethyst can be Andre.
Exactly. Perfect.
You
I
boo, you
can't
boo.
wait. I
I
just can't wait to see Kat as Amethyst. That would be funny.
What I'm amused by too, though, is how probably a lot of this Ket and Cadence are actually learning for the first time, because you didn't say everything.
James and Jennifer too.
There's been a lot of road time, I'm sure. We've had a lot of conversations.
Yeah. Let's see. So that was where Melicanth told us kind of what happened after, they used the stolen moment. Talia became queen, and Melicanth started to have doubts about about using the thing, and then started looking into, putting it back, and there was a fight between them, and Talia was killed in this fight. And so, yeah, I was still mad at her at that point. I was still not happy. So yeah, we learned a lot of the history of what had gone on there, and that was the first time we heard the name Pishwish. She told us about he was the one that had given her the stolen moment, and she didn't really know anything about it aside from that, I think. Trying to remember. So, if all of this has happened within like the last 30 days, Nero would remember it like no problem.
well, thankfully, to do the reenactment, she'll now remember it because it will have happened, all of it, in the last 30 days.
Well, I think also the vagaries of magic that are allowing all this to happen make it all a little wibbly wobbly.
Plus, they're singing occasionally, so.
I don't know. Kat mentioned something about some really fast talking with a rhythmic beat. What did you call that again?
My name is Ket, and I'm here to say we lost our party in a major way. We went through the tree, and what did we see? Nothing, because we got frozen, she and me. These guys came along, all hell broke loose. We're the heroes of legend, gonna cook your goose.
Yay!
Hey.
Goose makes a really good meal.
That's all I got, man.
All right. So after Melicanth gives us the story, then we come out of the magic mansion and Zorath is there attacking with... I'm trying to remember if it was... I think it was demons that he was with? I'll have to think about that one.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Edit it later. Anyway, big scary dudes with like there was a whip involved and fire and it was a mess. But we overcame all the adversity and at the very end there was this flash where Solomonia we had this voice in our heads and he said, "Ah, there you are." And
Wait.
at that point we took off and we went to Ushpithra.
Didn't you guys say you met Jinxie in Villanocta before that?
Well, technically, we met her at the temple before the moment exploded.
I don't know how we want to put her part in this. Maybe we just leave her out.
Yeah. Okay. So, Ushpithra.
Just have to just chime in to say, if you leave Jinxie out of the story, she's going to be so mad. That would
can
be
live with
Like that'll be what sends her after us for
from
revenge.
her perspective, that is like the meanest possible thing that you could do.
We
But,
edited
Well,
you
we
out
had
of
to talk
history.
about her at the temple first. Like before
Well,
the
no,
moment
I mean,
exploded.
like I'm not telling you to do it. I think you guys probably know her well enough to know that that's probably how she would react.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to hit the highlights right
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Not
no.
like throw on it. Like I can't.
She
recap
becomes kind of important later on in a couple of points. I just figure if we're going to go with themes and stuff of people recurring and stuff, maybe she has to be mentioned.
All right. So the first time we met her in the temple, she was one of Zorath's guards, and we let her go. She was the only surviving person. And the next time was in Villanocta. She was posing as it was one of the advisors, like on the council, and she caused some trouble. And we found her out, and we got with Melicanth about it. And it's like, yeah, you can come with us, no problem. And Melicanth banished her. She didn't like that very much. So, yeah. Banished her back to her home plane. Did not come back. So we did not see her again for a while. So yeah, Ushpithra, there we met Carrot and Stick. We walked around the town a little bit. Archie had a lot of fun. What was her name again?
I mean, it's not really part of the whole.
Oh,
Not
I'm
important.
just checking to see if you remember her name because, come on. Don't be that guy. Anyway. Oh yes, so in exchange for the non-detection charms and some other stuff that was in a chest, we had to make a delivery to the stone giants. So we went there because there was trouble afoot. Dun dun dun. And there we met Granis, who was the only stone giant out and about, but something else was lurking below the surface. And I believe, how are we going to do the cave dragon? Rock dragon? Cave dragon?
It was a cave dragon.
Cave dragon.
I mean, we can probably polymorph Rocky.
I actually want to just go ahead and suggest that all Rocky can play all sorts of these monsters just with these hilarious little costumes that you rig up. Like
Really bad
he's the steam golem with just like big clanky bits of armor sort of taped to him, and then he's the he's the cave dragon with just this like big paper mache like head and a sort of tail sticking like dragging around behind him.
He's our mock-up for all of our discussions.
All right. So, Granis and Cave Dragon had a rock throwing contest. And then I think we ended up fighting it anyway because dragons are jerks. So Dragon was gone, we raided the treasure, and then we went in search of trying to figure out where all the rest of the stone giants went. And Granis pointed us to this sculpture that she had broken that had a crystal in it that needed to reflect the right kind of shadow onto this wall, that it would open the door, and that's where all the stone giants were. And yeah, I got petrified once we got in there, so that was fun. Oh, there was a giant spider. I mean, I'm not real keen on spiders, but if y'all want to go for like some action special effects type of thing.
Amethyst.
So.
If you like being a giant spider.
I got you. I got you, boo.
I knew
So we
you
had to
would.
fix the light.
Yeah, it sounds so fun. Like, I don't get to do that often.
Stop! Spider time!
Wish.
I'm picturing an 8-legged beast doing the hammer dance.
Right? And she's
I mean,
being goofy and
In
playing
hammer
around.
pants. Yeah,
At
in
some
hammer
point-
pants.
At
The
some
original
point,
was
she
purple,
gets
but that's
like
okay.
really silly working late at night, and she grabs Alaric and she spins him up in her web like and pretends like she's going to eat him. All oh, ho, ho, ho. Goofy, you know.
It's not funny.
Oh, sorry. Sets him down very gently.
Alright. So, I'm trying to. I think that was when Carrot showed up. Like, Doak sent her a message. Oh, we have to include Doak because he was with us on that. Andrew left us in Gorn, and then when we got to Ushbithra, Doak joined us. So we're going to have to switch out Rocky for, a Dragonborn
Oh,
instead of
Or
a
Cat. Or Cadence.
halfling.
Rocky can't stay around for that long. He's better used in specific fight moments or something. Because we can actually have the fight and he could get destroyed, and that's okay because he can come back. Makes that part really realistic for people. They'll enjoy watching for the fights, right? It'll keep it in their minds more.
Yeah, we have to like really emphasize, the power that, we're wielding and what we're overcoming. So yeah. Fight scenes are definitely definitely on the menu. All right, so Doak sent a message to his mothers, and Carrot came and used these scissors, to cut this magic circle that had kept all of the stone giants petrified. Now, one of
Yeah,
these stone
these
giants
ones.
was...
And I pull out the actual shears because she gave them to me.
Yeah.
You've been holding on to those all this time?
I kind
When
of
did
forgot
you
about
get
them until you
those?
mentioned them. Well, before everything went weird, she handed them to me. I just never got
Went
to use them.
weird. You're going to have to be more specific.
That's hard to do, really.
It started weird. So I think the stone giant that was responsible for petrifying everyone, putting them all asleep. What did we used to call it? Fissure touched, something like that, where like the magic and like something about the fissures kind of makes people a little, not quite there.
Fissure
we can-
baited.
We can workshop a better name. We've got some time.
So yeah, she was convinced and had convinced the rest of the stone giants that the dream of what we consider the real world was to them supposed to be a dream, and she convinced all of them that it was ending. And so we defeated her, but not before she used a control rod on the trapped spirit of the stone giants. This was a moment for me. Because the spirit wasn't active in any way, it was only able to do exactly what it was told to do. Trapped in that stone and under control by that magic rod. But I don't know that I told you guys about the second part of that particular encounter. Do you remember that night? I believe we were resting before journeying back. There was a big storm outside. I think everyone was asleep. And I went out to investigate. And I encountered a wild spirit of the plains. This massively powerful, untamed creature. There was lightning and thunder and just this amazing storm everywhere. And it was the exact opposite of the spirit of the stone giants, where that one was under so much control, it couldn't move, couldn't think, couldn't be who it was in any way. And this other spirit was completely unchecked. And the conversation that I had with Rushama is that there had to be a third option. A way to balance between those two. And I believe, Alaric, you commented on noticing some changes. I think that was, yeah.
I knew something was different. You didn't really want to talk about it, but I could see it.
It was
Something had changed.
It was very personal, and there was a lot that you guys didn't know about the situation then. But yes, as a result of that conversation, I mean, now I'm not lightning proof, so I mean that might be a good opportunity for some fireworks. Like I call the storm and boom, in and out, and I don't know.
It's also a good part about the lesson of the changing of the spirits and how Rushama needed to change.
Yeah, but in a way that sought balance. So you can't swing too far one way or too far the other way. You have to find a middle ground. So, after that, we headed back, and I believe that's around the time, there were some other little fiddly things in there, but that was when Zorath and Jinxie caught up to us again, only this time Archie had super sensing abilities and called Jinxie out right away. Sensed her as a fiend, right?
Yeah. She's glowed like a glowy thing.
Was that before or after the destruction of Ushbithra?
Oh, before.
Yeah. So, Zorath shows up with the Jinxie and is like, well, let's talk about this. But he doesn't say that until after he throws some... Melicanth comes out of the house, mad, and they're, firing off spells at each other, and Melicanth just, disappears. And she ends up in this crystal. Trapped in this... He traps her in some kind of contraption. And then Say says, yeah, I've got a plan. Got some ideas. We can talk about it. And seems very rational. And we needed to know
Suspicious.
stuff.
He had a plan, all right.
We see this little moment of time a little bit differently, but so he leads us through the portal. And that's when we ended up on the elemental plane of Earth. And there's some discussion, and he wants these manacles from a djinn named Onyx. And so we get a job from Onyx to do in exchange for these manacles he wants. And we go off to do this job into this cave. This mine has stopped producing. Nobody will go down there. And that's where we find the... Oh, there were so many undead. Oh, God, I hate the undead. They're terrible. Probably don't write that down. That might offend, you know.
Yeah, I know.
the
It's like
undead
you're
listeners.
sending this message out to a lot of undead right now. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're living challenged.
So, yeah. Undead, and the worst of the undead is an undead beholder. And that didn't... I feel like that fight wasn't going so well. But then we ended up triumphing. So we have to make sure to have that, like, you know, curve of hopelessness. You know, that arcs up until, you know, the moment of triumph where we overcome. And then we go down in this hole. And down in this hole, there's all these things that we've been looking for. And some things that we didn't know we were looking for. We found a flower. We found a book. We found a metal arm. And we found a very strange pair of statues. They're crawling at their
My name is Cat, and I'm here to say.
Drew
So
Tabaxi
your,
entered the story in a major way.
your friendly neighborhood cleric reads from the scroll and unpetrifies these two tabaxi. And enter Ket and Cadence. Ba-ba-ba.
But
might
more
be
like a
bigger around.
kazoo sound.
Woo!
Yeah, I like that.
Meow.
So while we're unpetrifying Ket and Cadence, Alaric is there making great choices and touches things that he should not be touching.
Hey,
And-
it was the right choice in the end, just not the one everybody thought it was.
We ended up with an extra companion we didn't know about.
We rescued someone that needed rescuing. We rescued 3 people that day.
That's true.
I think that's
actually
probably
pretty
the better
good. We
way
should
to.
write that down.
Yeah. Well, it's important because the caretaker comes in later too.
Right. So, we found out what the problem was with the mine. We rescued Ket and Cadence, got the arm, and then we headed back to Onyx. And Onyx is a jerk, and he demanded that everything in the mine belonged to him, so we needed to hand it over, including Ket and Cadence. And we said, nah.
It's probably going to offend all the jerks out there, but I'm okay with that part of the story.
This would be an excellent... Oh, if we could get like some fake columns, just like some posts, I can glitter bomb them to kind of make the same effect as his throne room. You know how it's all like jeweled?
Mm.
I mean, you literally
maybe-
have like thousands of gold worth of gemstones just like lying around at this point. But
Yeah.
Let's see. Then maybe... I don't know. Didn't he turn his throne into lava or something? Zorath did? All right.
Oh, yeah.
And so Onyx was forced to flee his own throne room, which made Zorath really happy. Like, I don't think I'd ever heard him laugh before that, and it was, but in like a good way.
I
It wasn't
suppose.
nearly as maniacal as normal. Okay, let's see. Where'd we go after that?
The Shadowfell.
Yeah, Zoroth's house.
Yeah, he had set up shop in the Shadowfell.
Yeah, he had a miserable house in a miserable place. It seemed about right.
Well, he had a pretty miserable childhood, so. So while there, we get more information. I got information about Zorath and how he grew up and the circumstances of that and why he was originally out to change the moment or restore it. And then when the stolen moment exploded, how that caused him to sort of spread out all across the multiple planes of existence and to see so much and know so much and gain so much knowledge
And have the ability to destroy everything.
or save it, depending on how you look at it.
No, he was pretty much just destroying things. Where you guys could close portals, he would just rip them open wherever.
But that
He
can be
was
useful.
literally opposed to the saving of the universe.
Well, regardless,
Tomato, tomato.
stuff happened, and we should write it all down and include it in the story. All right, so there's one part about this that I don't understand. I wasn't there for it because I stayed behind. Now, you guys went back to Ushbithra, but I don't really know what happened there.
That would have been
This was a giant turtle thing, I think.
Salomonia's fault, I think. That damn song. How did it go again?
You don't want to start that. Yeah.
Still in the back of my head somewhere.
So I can't speak to the whatever it was that happened there. All I know is that you guys came running back in, carrying a pig and yelling something about the Lord of the Hunt, and it was a mess.
Yeah.
So if you want
We
to
were
fill
being
in,
tracked by the Lord of the Hunt through something. There were a couple of fae and a giant turtle. It stomped most of Ushbithra flat, unfortunately. And we fled, knowing it was following us. Lord of the Hunt himself was following us at one point.
We actually fought him,
Yeah.
and we let him go.
Yeah, we're right. We actually did. Well, I think you defeated him, didn't you?
I don't remember. I was thinking about my pig just now. But then we did
that
let
was
him
where we
go,
picked Robert. Yeah.
and he was like, respect. And then, he left, and we left, and we were running, and we had to go through all these weird obstacles, and it was crazy.
Yeah, I remember the tail end of that. I remember I hopped through that portal he had set up that went both ways. And I think I hit him once, maybe, while you guys, booked it out of there. And then when he got to the Shadowfell, he didn't like that very much, so he took off. But yeah, I don't know what was up with the turtle. So you guys are going to have to fill in those details.
Yeah.
I think it was following the song or something.
Insert details here.
So
Yeah,
it was
that-
actually ended up it was another Fey intervention that had was essentially like bewitched it and had it entranced. And normally it would this giant peaceful spirit that would wander the plains, but it brought it into Ushbithra to start smashing everything.
I think it was trying to get your attention because of the stolen moment. And she basically gave an ultimatum to give it up. She wanted it. So we had to fight. And we had to stop the turtle.
But you did stop it and turn it around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 That's what we do.
Yep. Yeah, we
So
we
another
stopped
major
turtles.
victory for the heroes. Sort of.
We'll try to frame it that way. Still like to rebuild Ushbithra sometime.
It's on the list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, at that point, you guys came back And that's when we decided we were going to say, what happened next?
Melicant.
Was it
Zoreth brought
or
Melicant.
was it the mistress, the heralds appeared in the castle and said, "Hey, she's on her way."
It was
And
both
that's
of
when
them.
Yeah, I
that's
forget
when,
which one happened first, but
yeah.
Melicamp was definitely freed because we were taking sides.
Well, I
Mhm.
think Melicanth happened second because then Alaric jumped through the portal and we lost him.
Yeah.
Well, that came at the
No.
end.
Yeah.
Right. Which
But
was
the Mistress of the Dark came and Alaric was like, I wish you would just go away. And then she went
he didn't.
to Rochelle.
That's when we had some
No,
idea
no.
that something else was happening that we didn't know. The caretaker was taking care of us.
Well, it sounded at the time like you were having some kind of argument with yourself. It was really
Well, I didn't know everything about it at the first. It took my arm and made it its own, and we were both the same thing for a while. It was very confusing. But
We'll have to think of some kind of like special like sound effects to like have a disembodied voice come in and have the other end of that conversation.
well, Ket can be invisible, right? And you can do voices. See?
Yeah, that's what
I don't know where he is right now at all.
Doing voices.
Is he actually in the room?
I
Is he
mean-
already in-
What kind of voices would you like me to do?
I mean, it wasn't quite like that, but
Well, how does the caretaker sound? I think because that was probably the voice he heard.
I mean, it wasn't really a voice at that time, but it's probably easier to explain to people if it was. It was more like an emotion or like a picture, but I think that's harder to convey to people in a story. So for the story's sake, we'll make it a voice.
All right.
Howdy ho, everybody. I'm the caretaker.
That's the voice. Yeah.
Yeah. Funny,
Okay,
I remember
so-
it differently.
So, mistress banished to who knows where. It's a mystery for now in the story. Then we made the plan with Zoreth to get Melicanth. He was going to question her, pull her out of this crystal trap thing that he had. And I'm not down with torture, and that was what I have a line. So that's when all hell broke loose. Well, not yet. That's later on in the story, I suppose. But
I mean, probably more than once, technically. But in that point, it's one of the reasons we had to mention Jinxie earlier, because she turned from what I was thinking she was just an ally of Zorath to really revealing his hand, that he was willing to do and influence and manipulate anybody to get what he wanted. And she was messing with me.
so, fight ensues. And I banished Melicanth back to the material plane. And I wasn't in the room. The next thing I know, the next thing I heard is that Alaric was gone.
Well, Zorath left before me. He cut a hole in the world and left. And I wasn't going to let him get away. I didn't know he opened up a hole to empty space. That was a bit disturbing.
Would be.
I met some friends there. Unfortunately, they got caught up in all of this for the most part, except for one, but we don't have to go into detail about that. I don't really know what happened with you folks back here, but it sounded big.
Well, this is the part where you have to give this part of the story because we don't know. We weren't there. All we know is that you showed up with some birds later on, but
Well, I met some good people on the plane of air. They had a ship, and they knew about other holes that were forming from there to, well, I guess it's the prime material plane. And they gave me a lift. A couple of them wanted to come with, so they did. It's all there really is to that.
Weren't they demanding a ransom for you though?
I had offered them some reward for helping to save me, that's all. Seemed like a fair thing to do. Their culture is a little bit different than ours. It's just they felt that what needed to be framed more as a ransom.
Okay, we'll tell that through your lens. Go ahead.
Potato, yeah.
Let's see. I think we headed back to Gorn at that point. And I think by then Archie had already made your pig a suit of armor.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
he sure did.
Might be a good injection of humor to have, like, if Amethyst could conjure a pig, and can you do a pig with armor?
I'm sure we could figure something out in prop department.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, but then when we got to Gorn, we kind of tumbled out into the middle of this guy's room, and there was screaming, and I froze him, and then, we went out the window. I think. And I think that's where you decided that was too dangerous for him, right, Cadence?
We actually had to leave him behind because there wasn't enough room to take everyone with us because of the way that we traveled, so we had to leave him behind.
What was it? It was some kind of bird Amethyst conjured.
It was probably the rock's feather,
Mm.
So
which I still have.
Reminded when we did the wind walk the first time.
yeah, it was something like that we couldn't take him because she could only cast it on so many people.
I feel like it was giant owls, guys.
I don't remember.
Could have been.
Conjure something.
We've got some guest contributions. Incidentally, I just want to have a brief flash forward to the people running the tavern where Robert currently resides, suddenly experiencing this whole vision and going, "Hey!"
Oh,
That's where it came from. That's awesome. He's going to be even more famous now.
Pig of legend.
Oh yeah, I hope you guys weren't expecting to maintain any kind of anonymity when all this is over, because definitely not going to happen. Okay, so after that was when we needed more information, and I had a way to get it. So this would be a good maybe reintroduction to Rushama at this point. I could do I could recreate, I could use the Temple of the Gods spell and recreate that whole scene. Although I think I'm going to make some alterations to the robes because those were too much. Mm-mm. So tacky.
I wish I'd seen it the first time.
Maybe if we put it in the vision, then they will just sort of adopt that later on, and I won't have to. Anyway, that's for later. So then that's where we can fill in some of the history, as I was told it about the High Elves and the Dark Elves, and that there was a split. Although it's strange because I feel like I've gotten slightly conflicted information, but the information I have came from Rushama. But I don't know what the influence there, because to try and reconcile that with what the storyteller told us, it's a little fuzzy. So it's going to take me a little while to kind of work out maybe what's closest to the truth. Sort of trying to balance both sides of the equation, because what I remembered it being was there was a split in what they believed. so the dark elves, or the high elves, wanted to continue worshiping the way that they always had been, and they didn't want to change. And the dark elves had some other ideas, although I don't know a lot of particulars about that. That's really as much information as I had at the time. And then I think there was something else. There was just so much information. Oh, that was also when I learned that what I carried of Rushama was the last remaining piece of him. So that's also kind of important to the story as to like where we're going with the main end goal here. So we're trying to boost that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's all that history in there. And if you give me a little bit, then I'm sure I can like flesh it out a little bit more and recall more details. But then we got a knock on the door. And that was where the representatives of the, let's see, it was the Gitzerai and the Celestials, and I'm trying to remember what the last one was. It was like all the neutral ones. Gitzerai, Celestials, and I remember the third one was the, yeah.
I wanted to say it was another of those. Was it another geodesic person?
Yeah, I don't think it wasn't a devil or a demon. It was whatever is in between them, and don't remember what that was. Crap, because that's important. Because we sent those armies against whoever. Didn't look up those details either. So we made a deal with them because they wanted to know, if we were more chaotic or if we were more lawful or what our whole goal was. And we took off our non-detection charms because we're brilliant like that. There's your recurring theme of bad decisions. Yeah. So we decided to let them keep an eye on us. And we left the temple, and we're trying to find, and after we just left there, that was when that dang piece of paper shaped like a paper airplane hit me right in the forehead. I owe you for that one, Alaric.
Hey, I don't know how they work. I just knew it was useful. I wonder if I could aim them.
Again, I feel like that was a lot more about intent than anything else.
But you got the point, didn't you?
Yeah,
In the
right
forehead.
And that was when we started heading towards Mount Rushama. So I think we went south at that point. And then that was where we had that big battle. That was where we first saw the Mistress of the Dark hanging over Mount Rushama. And I was not happy. And I told Alaric to fix it, and he couldn't fix it then. And then it was just mass chaos. Had to make a split-second decision. There was forces of Queen Solomonia, Zorath's forces, the Lord of the Hunt was out there with his forces, and then there was the Mistress of the Dark. We don't really... Let's see. The Gitzerai were defeated by the Lord of the Hunt, because later on in the desert that came up and was a whole thing. I think it was the Gitzerai. Pretty sure. And we went off to fight the Mistress of the Dark, and that's when you guys did that, because I didn't get to really do anything that fight, but you guys were awesome. Like, wore her down and polymorphed her into a bird, and then you put her in a bottle. You put her in a bottle.
Yeah, that thing I just found along the road. Still wondering where that thing came from. But it was my attempt to try to fix some of what I'd broken.
Well, it worked out. I think that's when Melicanth showed up again. And we went off to the desert. Yes. Helping my memory. Alright. So, Ket and Cadence, you might want to... You're more familiar with the terrain and could probably describe it in more detail and really evoke the heartache of seeing everything lost.
Well, there was like that whole thing when we like kept walking through the desert and we were like following nothing and we didn't know where we were going and it was terrible because, you know, we thought we were going to find our home and there was just a big hole there. So, and we got blown into that cave, remember? Like, into that entrance when we were trying to find it. By that weird, mystical storm.
All right, we ended up at that oasis first.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can probably leave that part out, I think.
No,
But that's
because
where-
that was where we met that memory
Was
stealing monster thing.
related
Oh,
to
yeah.
the dragon, but
And it looked
Yeah.
like amethyst. It had eaten amethyst's memories or something.
Yep.
Which was really weird because, yeah, it looked like Amethyst, only younger.
Maybe we can't leave that part out.
yeah.
Dun, dun.
It's important.
I wonder if it was like a pet and the dragon was feeding it memories.
I think that the dragon kept it there to sort of,
It's a guard, right?
yeah, like, well, that and to keep people from coming in and also to, like, steal their information. Because the dragon was like an information hoarder.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it fed off of it then.
Find out
That
who's
makes
got
sense.
the goods.
Kat, can you still do Finger of Death? Because if you could, we'll have to rig something up for you to Finger of Death.
I mean, it could be a special effect. It doesn't actually have to kill someone.
Yeah, man, that's a big
Doesn't
spell to waste, man.
Actually, have to
Like
figure.
something attacks us after we tell the story.
Acting is a thing.
Unless we want to summon a creature and then kill it. That seems a bit wrong.
Well, but I mean, you could mimic the effect with something else because you're familiar with the spell.
But you.
I mean, I could conjure a fae or something for you to Finger of Death. Whatever you like.
Cast
I feel like I have to
mage
phrase that
hand
very
is-
Finger.
carefully. Yeah, got to be careful how you say that, guys.
We're low budget here. I'll just like
Very
string
explicit.
together a bunch of pipe cleaners and have them go to the.
And just carry it over to the other side of the room. We ran out of budget for this scene. Sorry. We ran out of spell budget. We had so much in the previous scene. We just had no other spell left to just carrying things now.
We were tired.
Right. So we defeated the slime tentacle creature, and as bargain for us not killing it, it showed us the way to the giant crater. The only path that would take us to where we wanted to go.
Yeah, the hole in the ground with the dragon in it.
But we didn't know that then, because we just wanted to go to Emerald Arboris.
Mm-hmm.
We followed this path, and all we found was this giant crater.
What was it called? Cerebrex, cerebrum, brain hemorrhage.
I think that's a medication. A long list of side effects.
May cause memory loss.
It did.
Yes.
He had a long list of side effects.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we camped outside the crater and it walked around in our heads. So it already knew all about us when we went down.
Somebody didn't sleep, so somebody was exempt. But yeah, everybody else for sure. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong.
Melicanth didn't go. Like, she had that barrier up,
She had
too. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Then we went and we talked to the amethyst dragon. Could you polymorph into that?
Not related.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think so. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if you were. Yeah, 'cause
Right,
you-
Kat? You know polymorph way better than I do.
True power.
Yeah, sure. I'll just flip off the polymorph all willy nilly. I'm assuming we just have unlimited spell slots for this whole entire thing.
Well, you're
It's
taking
part of the
the time.
preparation.
Yeah.
All right. So then we made a bargain with the dragon and we all gave up something. So I think Archie went first because he was the one, because the dragon was like, well, what will you give me in trade for what I know? Because what I know is what you seek and blah, blah, blah. Super villain monologuing type
That's
stuff.
an excellent impression. You know, they were absolutely right earlier that you do voices.
But yes, then
So-
Archie had a stroke of brilliance.
And
Or
he
just
offered
a
his
stroke.
vow.
Yep.
He offered his vow, the most important thing, giving him his power. And poof, it was gone.
This
Well,
new dragon.
It wasn't quite enough. He was hoping that would be enough, but no. He wanted something from everybody.
So for me, he asked for memories of my family and my friends, everyone I knew back home, all in trade for what he knew.
He already had my memories, so I don't remember what I traded him. This is the same dragon that already had my stuff.
I think it was that you wouldn't seek out how to regain those memories was the deal.
Right. Yeah.
You gave
Haha.
a chance to.
Keep it hidden, yeah.
Yeah. So I lost nothing.
Yeah.
And then, Ket, what did you give up? Your voice, right?
Yep, I gave up my ability to sing songs, so I began telling knock-knock jokes. Knock, knock, who's there? Ket, who? Ket, I don't even know.
And that's when Amethyst realized just how much she loved Ket's singing voice and how much she was going to miss it.
I gave up everything before meeting the rest of you, which I didn't realize what I lost when I lost it.
That's how that usually works.
And Cadence.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you
Give
don't
it
want to talk about it.
She
Yeah.
can't
It's hard.
remember what she gave up.
I gave up my memories of my father and my mother.
Stop pressuring her, man. She can't remember what she gave up because she gave up her memories.
Yeah. I
You
got
got
them
them
back,
back.
though. Yeah.
The other thing we found there, I don't know if we knew it then or not, but the rest of the caretaker was there, and that Marut was standing there too. We might want to seed that just for the later scene when we come back and kick the thing's butt.
We
Mhm.
know that when we gave up, we didn't know what he had when we made the trade. So then
Right.
he had this bubble of darkness over this area. And when he cleared it, that's when you see, I believe it was the... was it
Well, the codex was there.
the head? Or was it the torso? I think it was the torso of the caretaker, because then you put the arm on it. Torso and head?
Well, I think that came when we kicked his butt later, didn't it?
No, you reached out to touch it, and it just kind of, I think.
Hmm.
And that's when the Marut, like, it could be off camera, but that's when the Marut, like, boom, springs to life and, like, lets out a ominous...
Oh, that's right. The
Noise.
tree grew and
hmm But then you see the Codex Panoptica, which that's going to be hard to replicate.
See, I think it was when we came back for the codex that we fought it. We gained we gave the caretaker the rest of his pieces, and the Marut came after us. We didn't do it right then because we were still following the things we
No.
learned.
The Marut didn't wake up until Archie started making the tree grow. When it
Right,
became
but we
the
didn't do
tree.
that until we attacked the dragon itself.
Right. But I
That's when we
don't
came
think
back.
you had the arm when we left the desert. I think you gave it up to the caretaker
Mm-hmm.
at that
Maybe.
point.
Yeah,
Maybe.
you definitely offered it. I thought you were nuts. But yeah, it was cool.
You might need that. And you're like, no, it wants to go.
It's
Well,
the right
it did.
thing.
I mean, it
Sure,
was
sure,
literally
sure.
his arm, so
Sure, sure. It was just a surprise, is what we're saying.
I didn't think it was just gonna wander over. But
So maybe to show the Codex Panoptica, we could do something with like mirrors at weird angles, so it kind of looks like this infinite book, maybe?
mm,
The book in the middle, and then how all these different mirrors angled around it, so that like whatever angle you look at it from, it's like a book from different sides. But I don't know, it was really hard to look at, so kind of hard to describe. That might be adequate. But then, yes, you see the small purple fissure with a singular branch coming out of it.
yeah, what happened next? Did we
We left.
go to it? Because we were looking for the tree, weren't we? We knew that it was gonna hold the universe together, right?
Yes. But we didn't go there immediately. We left the crater, and the Lord of the Hunt was up at the top waiting for us. And we humiliated him. I don't know. How do we want to frame that?
How about we just bested him? He's probably going to be listening to this.
yeah.
Because then Ket did the thing where like he tried to like poof out, and Ket was like, nope, and made him.
Is this the dude that killed me? Do we have to sweat him being offended? Hurting his ego. Like, do I care? Oh no, his ego.
No, it was a fair fight, you know.
I mean, it's better than Zorath.
We could include this stuff about how we were like, oh, he's so attractive, he's so hot, and that would balance it out, Amethyst.
Sure, sure. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Like, I respect him because he's so attractive.
But he was hot,
hair
so it was
that
okay.
flowed and the
Yeah.
spark in his eye. And
See, I don't know why you guys
when
think
he
that
spoke, he
that's
just
what
had this
girl-
smile just at the corner.
Yeah.
Always there. That's what I see.
We just learned a lot about Archie, y'all.
All right, so then we're in the Magic Mansion, and I definitely got a ping from Zorath telling me to get outside. And the sky was like all red and really creepy. He also said, don't go after the tree. But we went after the tree.
I mean, yeah. Duh.
Seems like
remember how we
something
did
y'all
it,
would do.
We went because we had, what was our Aarakocra friend's name? Feathercrest?
That was one of them, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the one that was with us, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. It's been years.
Weeks? I don't know, something. Time is weird.
It was last Tuesday, you guys.
I know.
For the
We
record,
stopped having Tuesdays a while ago.
2 years ago was the Real World Shadowfell edition when you were all at Zoreth's Shadowfell
Wow.
Mansion. That was 2 years ago.
Wow.
Okay, so then we went to the Plane of Air with the Aarakocra and hijacked a Githyanki ship to take us to the Astral Sea because we did not have a tuning fork for it.
Sure.
Right. And they had surrounded it.
Yeah, Ket faked out those guards pretty good too, coming through that the portal that they had guarded, the hole.
Yeah.
But the tree was cased in amber, protecting itself.
Yeah. So yeah, journeying, flying, ship, going, and Melicanth was with us at that point still. So yeah, then we got to the tree and saw the amber shell, and didn't we follow a little, oops, sorry, a little mote of something shiny.
Well, the
I don't
amber
know.
was weak in places where
Yeah.
it was being destroyed.
We
If we
followed
went in the back door.
this little speck of something that said, "Follow me, come this way," and it was basically leading us into a trap. But it did get us inside the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so you've got the tree encased in amber. All the Githyanki like ships, like they're leading the astral dreadnoughts and trying to smash into it. There's these black spots all over it, so it's under attack. We go in through this little crack in the amber, and we make our way through. And we learn that there were 3 problems, correct? There was the Githyanki. There was the Ooze Demon, and then there was Custis Vigil.
Hmm.
And the Modrons, but they weren't really a problem. They were just there.
That was part of Custis Vigil, though. He was
Yeah.
directing.
Fair.
So, we have to talk about, what was the Arius? Was that his name, the little dragon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I think that was the name.
And Custos was actually in the amber covered city where Cadence and Ket were from.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel bad about Custos, though.
Well, we're not to that part of the story yet. So, and a lot of this, I'm gonna not know what you guys did, so you're gonna have to fill in here.
Oh, yeah.
Because we talked to the one big Modron guy that was actually like Jinxie, the shapeshifter. And then we went and we met Custos, and as we were sitting down to have a conversation, that's where I exit the story for a little while, so take it away. I wasn't there.
I remember having a conversation with him, a few conversations with him, but
Yeah, they were honorable, but being tormented. I forget
Being-
exactly the order.
There was that little demon that was like, you know, you have to convince him to leave his post.
I think it was
oh,
because Custos was there, it was causing the tree to be more static or something, not wanting to grow on beyond.
yeah, it was keeping it, basically trimming it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pruning it.
Yeah, the Modrons were, any growth was
Didn't
being cut
grow.
back by them.
Yeah, because he was charged with making sure that it didn't grow. So that little demon was like, you have to make him stop that. You have to convince him to leave his post because we wanted the tree to grow. So Then we had to talk to Costas Bridges.
And he had made oaths of, to do that job. And I had forgiven my oath, not forgiven, forgotten, lost, and had been gone pretty dark. The repercussions of that, and then done a lot of soul searching, and then really discussing with him, we're discussing oaths and discussing the spirit of things and and what he had truly sworn, and both of us took new oaths to protect life and light and love, which let him stop the inhibiting the tree.
I remember the little demon guy trying to get me to convince Custos to change. I convinced the demon to change into several smaller pieces.
It was very persuasive.
That does not surprise me in the least.
I needed to ask him a few questions.
It is a very shiny axe. Oh, we should probably mention that Mugen had popped in to give us gifts.
Yeah, that was
You got your
before,
axe.
actually. I think.
Mugen's not dead. Da da da.
Yay!
Here's
was
some
much
gifts. Oh, you're
rejoicing.
gone again.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Melicant was safe at some point there. I don't know if Melicant disappeared as well, I think.
Yeah, and she didn't
Then
come
was
back.
put
but she was
somewhere
supposed
safe.
to. She was
But we
supposed
went
to
after
come
that.
back when Mugen left, and she did not.
Right. We went after that stupid ooze. And that's when Jinxie Kina came.
Please don't call her that. Like that's really uncomfortable for me.
It was pretty uncomfortable for me,
Wearing a
too.
bikini.
Oh no, that's worse. Mm-mm. That's worse.
All right.
Jirakina, Jinxakina, Jinxu.
Yeah, I'm still fuzzy on what she said to make you guys believe her. Like, I mean, she must be really good.
Oh, yeah.
She'd
Yes.
already been able to change my mind without my wanting it, so I suspect it was something like that. But in the moment she made us give up the bottle. And that's when we had to fight two things. She set the mistress of the shadow, whatever her name was, on the tree itself. And that's where Custos, I believe, was lost. And then there was the demon itself. And of course Jinxie. Ooh. If I had been a little faster, I would have been gotten her to her first, but Cadence's arrow was what really killed her.
I don't know if she looked like me. Should I step in and like play that part during this scene?
I-
Because-
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sure I'd feel comfortable with that.
and I don't really want you going after my head. That would.
That's okay. Ket can do it.
I have
Right?
like Nerf arrows and
protect it
stuff. Like I could shoot you in the face and it won't kill you. It's okay. It's just gonna be hard. Like if Alar chops off your head, that's like you're the person who would bring you back. So it's probably not a good idea.
It's hard to
I
intentionally
can do
miss,
that too, but that's not. Yeah.
but you can just project an illusion or something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we can totally resurrect anybody
I mean-
that Alaric rage kills out of jealousy. No problem. We got this. We'll call it play prep.
Guys, I'm getting cues from the stage manager to hurry it up.
Gotcha.
All right, so some stuff happened with Zorath. He pulled me through a portal. I guess you guys killed the demon. And yeah, some conversations with him. I don't know. Some dark elves attacked us. Like they went after me. Like knowing the history, I guess it makes sense. But anyway,
And we also
then
faced off
we
against Githzerai or Githyanki, who were breaking in under Queen
Yeah.
Salomonia's commands.
well, but before I came back, I pushed him into the time bubble, taking him off the board effectively. And I want to be clear in this scene that I really don't feel good about it.
Can you feel a
But
little
yes.
bit good about it?
No. So then,
What do we put back in? Like all the lovey-dovey eyes and the kissy bits and
there was no.
I don't think we have time for that.
It happened.
So
You
then I
have
come
to
back.
accept it.
We face the Githyanki. We go up to them and parlay. They give us this task. Oh, and yeah, Queen Salomonia is there, has charmed them. And we fight the Dreadnought. I kind of die a little bit. And we make a deal with not quite the devil, but
Well, the Queen, Empress. I guess we can still call her Queen in the part of the story.
at that point she was Queen Salomonia, yeah. So saved my life, helped us win the fight. Although, is that gonna maybe not? Maybe we should not mention that because the Githyanki might be a little upset.
I mean, it kind of, one point it does serve is to show that we're dealing on a different level, and which builds the legend towards us being believed for the big ask that we're asking. I mean, we're dealing with Fey Queens and we're dealing with
Yeah.
dreadnoughts and
maybe we leave
things.
out the part of her aiding the actual fight and just leave it at her saving me.
yeah.
And it looks like we're badasses still.
I mean, it's mostly true.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm not gonna bother.
Okay. So the queen, we meet back up. The Archie gets the sword, and then we take off to the Feywild, right? And so this, Archie, you've been working on musical instruments, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This might be a good point to insert some kind of musical sound effect. Like every good play needs a nice, like, romantic theme music.
Mm-hmm.
And so this might be a good place for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Some
Might
sort of
also be a
kind of-
good place for the glitter. I mean, it didn't exactly have a shine to it, but it did look different.
But we all still have our costumes from the ball, right?
Oh yeah.
Man. Okay. So in the Feywild, we go after the honey. Ket gets his voice back, and so yeah, we had the dragon situation, the game show situation. We had the creatures with the eyes.
You know, those guys.
Yeah,
Creatures
the ones that we
with
needed
eyes.
their eyes for the bee people.
Oh yeah,
We got
that
the
was.
honey. Ket got his voice back. I don't know. Should we leave out the part of like the? I don't know, that's kind of. Not. I don't.
Like where you
Yeah.
killed us and we came back? Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need that part.
Okay. So we got, and I don't think that the bees probably want everybody knowing their secret of this honey and everything. So, say, quest. We got the honey. Ket gets his voice back, and then we go after the. See, Salomonia calls in the favor. We go after the Codex Panoptica, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kill the dragon. Archie makes the final blow using the tree to crush its head, or was it skewered or crushed? I don't. It was
Skewered. I mean, and really, Amethyst, did the heavy lifting there, but
But yeah.
Yeah.
That's what woke up the Marut. And so running like hell.
oops.
Oh, and that's when Grandmother Praxis stepped in to kind of give us a window of opportunity to leave. All right.
Right. She distracted the Marut.
Right.
She was also the one behind the honey and all that too.
Right. Let's see. Then, let's see. We ran, scried on some stuff with the codex. We handed it over, and then we went after Pishwish. And this is where everything changes, guys. This is where Ket breaks the world. World's
This would be the big musical number.
Yeah, so Ket, you're gonna have to speak to like the whole how that happened.
I'll break the world and melt with you.
Look, man, Cadence was dying, the people were attacking, and I just wish none of it would happen. And here we are.
That was the Sybriacs or something.
So then conversations about being gods with gods and the keys. And then we talked to some people. The first person we talked to, I think, was my grandmother, right? But I didn't know it was her at the time. We got more of the story, found out the elves were going to the dark elves, attacking, thinking they were responsible for all of this. Very misguided, very wrong. And now a debt is owed. And I want that point hammered home. So then we go down to where the dark elves are to see if we can stop that before figuring out what's going on with the demon lord thing. And we meet my mother, who has, I don't remember, but has been literally very wounded. Oh,
Yeah, she was missing an eye and an arm, I think.
yeah, we forgot the part about bringing Alaric's dad back from the dead.
I mean, it's not entirely necessary at this point,
Well,
other than the fact
but
that it's
it
part of the
speaks to
same
the
contract.
next part where we thwarted the assassination by going to Hell and the Nine Hells and negotiating a contract with the Prince of Hell. And then we had the big fight with Dracarix, right? Yes. And so that's got to be a huge event point, like this is a major battle, guys. So we take down the 5-headed dragon god,
And Ket was an angel at that point.
yeah, he changed. Do you think you could do that on a not permanent basis, just for the fight?
Sure. Someone can. I don't know. Someone. Yeah, okay.
Can you
Hold on. Let me go get in costume.
All right. So contract over. Parents are safe. Then we head to Mount Celestia and we meet the new Empress Salomonia, who helps us restore the tree. Right. And after that, we return to the mountain, get the other half of the story from the storyteller, the Dark Elves, and now this is.
I
what
mean,
we
there was
need to
also
go.
the part about going to find the soap and then using it.
Yeah, but that's not really.
Yeah, we don't need that's not important to the overall story. That was just a
Yeah.
jinxie thing. I mean, as long as she's in there, I think she'll be happy.
Side quest.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the majority of the story. So what's left is to really speak to what we need. And
And what happens next?
yeah, I'll have to come up with like a whole speech. So yeah, I think give me just a little bit of time. I'll think about that, and we'll come back to that. We'll revisit that part. Talk about that next week.
Yeah. Yes. So I was just going to go ahead and say that I think, as you guys finish putting together this recap, which I want to just briefly take a step into the meta and say, let's everyone thank Starla for doing the heavy lifting there. Yes, so certainly a trip down memory lane this episode. Next week, you make the case for saving the universe again. All right. Well, we'll be back next week for more adventure on so many.
So many levels.
So many scenes.
Yeah.